Welcome back, everybody, to the West Coast Flagrancy. I am your host, David Juarez, Rick Grinch. Man, do we have some interesting things to talk about today? As always, we try our best to stay relevant. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is on its way out. They are going to finish up their final season in 2021. I read something really funny. It was like, oh, the world is finally healing itself after it ending. But I have like good money that they're gonna start another fucking reality TV show where it's just like the West, KK West or something. That sounds like a really funny one, right? Kim and Kanye West. I know obviously nobody gives a fuck about them, so moving on to something more important. What was it over the weekend? Or about, has it almost been a week now? I think the dumbest shit people are doing, that my generation is doing, is gender reveal parties. Like, you've gotta be the dumbest motherfuckers.
Why do you hate on it so much?
I do hate it. Okay, maybe it's just me being a little like cynical about gender reveal, but like anything that has to do with babies, like the celebration of a child. Like, you think it would be something ceremonial. Well, what are you gonna say? What do you got? You don't think it's special?
I think that was like a, oh, you just hate celebrating babies. All right. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, fuck a
Yeah,
baby. I may have been one myself.
I was waiting for him to finish it.
No, bro, babies are the scum of the earth. No, they're not. They're the future.
Wow.
But no, like, what are you gonna do? But do you realize that these gender reveal parties are literally killing people? Like, I think it was about.
I'm sure that wasn't the intention.
I know it
You're
wasn't.
talking about the extreme ones too,
Shit.
and I don't think all of them are the same thing.
Define extreme.
Well, like if you have you've seen the ones that, oh, we cut into a cake and whatever color the cake is, that's what
That's
the baby is.
that's
Right?
okay with me. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Not all of them are extreme. The ones that caused the wildfire, yes, that is a bit.
Unless it's yellow
extreme.
cake uranium, but that's you know. Um, but what about the one where?
Oh my god.
What about the one where they built that pipe bomb? Okay, so look, I'm no fucking rocket engineer, but I know how the fuck a rocket works, right? You gotta propel something from the bottom, right? An exhaust, right? And a combustion engine does shit. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this. The point is, they built try to build a fucking smoke bomb, and they ended up building a pipe bomb,
Great.
right? They ended up building a pipe bomb, which unfortunately ended up killing one of their family members. And that's really fucking tragic. It's like you go through all this fucking trouble to throw a party for your. You see, I even feel weird saying it. It's like, oh, I want to invite you guys to my gender reveal party so that you guys can be there.
So just then don't do it.
Don't do it. That's not the point. The point.
No. Yeah, I'm telling you to calm yourself.
Separately from like the baby shower.
What about the baby shower?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you
what?
have a baby shower. Like, don't they do it as with it, or do they have two different? Like, they have a baby shower and a gender reveal.
I think the millennials have decided to make it two separate things. The baby shower is like where they shower the baby with gifts, right? That's why they call it a shower. A baby shower, right? Because they
But
shower
the kid
with.
isn't born yet.
It's not born yet when it's gender revealed either.
That's
they
what I'm
don't-
saying.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be part of the same thing?
I don't think so.
That's what I asked. That's
Oh,
why I was
maybe
like,
it could be.
because wouldn't you do that like as an? It would not be a standalone thing. It would be just part of a baby shower.
It would. You would think that. You would think that, but maybe
I do think that. I just don't know if I'm right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know if you're right either. Because
So I don't know.
the mainstream media is all like, oh, these are gender reveal parties. But if they call them baby showers, you think they would be any less intimidating?
How do you
No,
go
no,
from
that's not what I'm
talking
saying. I'm
about?
saying, is it two different things, or is it one? Like, do they do it in one? I'm not saying that either one is. Like, if it doesn't change whether they're separate or not. That was a question I had. It wasn't geared toward anything.
Well, I'll let you know when I have a baby. I'll invite you guys to Just the baby shower. All right.
Don't invite me.
If it's a gender
I'm not gonna
reveal,
go.
I'm just I'm just gonna fucking send up that mass text message out. I'll send you guys an email or something. It's gonna
I'm
be
actually busy that day.
You're gonna be busy
Yeah.
that day.
I'm gonna be out of town.
Just fuck. Look, yeah, and then the one that started the wildfire over California. That shit's got to be a conspiracy, because there are wildfires every fucking year in California, and motherfuckers, people who are not from LA, are the ones who are like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you guys in California? Or people who are not from California are like, why do you guys have fires all the time? Like, you guys should be all about the environment and climate this, climate that. It's like, you should be telling the legislators that. They've been in office for a lot longer than most people at the top brass of government, right? Because they can have multiple terms, right? Our state legislators and shit. Where's Newsom at? Where's Garcetti at? I just saw Newsom tweet, oh, we've put more money into wildfire prevention than ever. And he has a little chart with like, oh, 6 out of the most extreme wildfires in California have happened this year. It's like, what are you trying to say? Like, you don't have any control over this dry heat. No shit. Like, it's dry heat. I'm sorry, I'm a little hot. It's because it bothers me now that I'm like getting older and I realize that there's shit. Like, people who care about the environment are not really doing anything. They're just putting a hashtag out like, oh, look at me in front of this tree. I'm saving the planet. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. You're not doing shit. I'm not saying I'm going to do something about it, but if you care just as much about the environment, you should at least be questioning, like, where the fuck is all this money going? Like, are we using it for those helicopters that drop the water? You know? I saw something actually really funny where they do a gender reveal, but the water is colored. You know what I'm saying? They just add, like, color.
Was that you said you saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that somebody, like, photoshopped a water helicopter with, like, pink water. Right, that would be a good gender reveal. Yeah, just come by over the party and just drop water over everyone. Call it raining blood. Yeah, so that shit has me feeling a certain type of way. We get wildfires in California, and a lot of respect goes out to all the fire women and men who put up with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put up with a lot, and I don't think they get enough recognition for it, especially like during fire season, which is funny to say. Fire season, like, we expect there to be a wildfire in California. Like, I woke up this morning, I fell asleep with my window open, and I'm like, why the fuck does it smell burnt? Like, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack or something. You know, because they say, like, you smell burnt toast or something right before you have a heart attack or something like that, right? I swear I was like, what the fuck is this smell? And I'm not. You've never heard that, Grinch?
Fuck no.
Yeah, apparently, like, it's like burnt hair or something. Like, you smell, like, there's a certain smell.
Burnt hair and burnt toast are two totally different smells.
Well, like, burnt, like, you know what burnt, something burnt smells like? You know what I'm saying? It just smells like burnt.
You're making shit up now.
No, I wish I was.
Seinfeld had actually a very good. They did a little bit about it.
What was it about?
It was George when he thought he had a he was having a heart attack,
yeah.
and he was like slapping his left hand. He's like, "There's his left arm."
Yeah, that's.
And then he's like, "Is somebody burning toast?"
Yeah, that's right.
And he ends up in the hospital or whatever.
Fuck. Talking about sitcoms, you guys are making me feel bad with all the references of The Office. I'll be honest. I'm kind of like this close to just binging that
fine.
bitch.
You just don't. You haven't watched it, and you're not a fan, which is fine. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's a lot wrong with it, because, well, no, actually, you're right. There's nothing wrong with that. I like a good comedy.
Wait. What's not wrong with him?
A lot of things. No.
That he doesn't. Yeah, that's a lot of things that are wrong with it. No, he's talking about, like, not knowing Office references the way that.
Yeah.
That's because, like, you and I probably I've watched.
Yeah.
Especially like season 1 through 6, I would say, like 100 times. I only watched, I think, once the rest of the season once Michael leaves. But because you and I are able to, like, we know what episodes we're talking about and what references to say, and, you know, little lines and stuff, and he's just like, what? I think when you said, remember last time you had said threat level midnight, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've seen that movie, and it's like, it's not a real movie.
It's real.
No, but it is funny though, because they do put the skit up on YouTube, right? Like because before you would have to wait for like a DVD or like a VHS with extra features for like all the bonus stuff. But the Threat Level Midnight movie I think is on YouTube, which I think is pretty cool. Same thing with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Those guys are fucking hilarious. Like the way you guys talk about The Office is the way I feel about Philadelphia. Like I've probably seen seasons 1 through 6 or 7, like more than a dozen times already, and I'm pretty good with references through there. Because the later seasons, for me, they're still pretty fresh. Because they're good, because all the running jokes are like coming to an end, right? Like Mac being fat, Mac being gay. Spoiler alert. Because
That was what season?
The most recent season him coming out as gay.
No,
Uh,
no, He came out season. Yeah, I think it's either 9 or 10.
oh shit, yeah, I think you're right. It was the dance, right? The interpretive dance he does for his father.
No, when he no. When he officially came out was actually when they
Go to
had
court.
the hero is a hate crime
Hate-
or
The hate crime
hero.
episode. Yeah. The hate
Yeah.
crime episode. That was a good episode. They get away with a lot.
Okay, so you also haven't watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No. I
You're a
just
big fan, and I'm like, if I know.
no. It's because he does this interpretive dance for his father in jail.
That's just later because he comes out. That's how he comes
Yeah.
out to his dad. But he had came out already.
Right, because the running joke being that everybody knew he was gay, and then he finally admits it to himself, and then tells his father. Which I thought, honestly, like, that's like the best part about the sitcom. It's like somebody who goes above and beyond their role as a character to be funny. Like Rob, I can't pronounce his last name, McGinley or something. Rob McGinley. McKinley.
McKinley.
And then he marries a bird, right? Like his best friend, right? This beautiful bird. Shout out to D.
Yeah, I mean,
Shout out to
don't
D.
know
I love
if
that
it's
bitch. She's my favorite.
because acting is not hard.
It's not. I was actually. You know what's ironic? I was.
You were slated to play that role. in that
I was. I had just finished watching the breakdown of The Godfather's opening scene on. Hey, I don't want to piss you off, Grinch, but look, if I get a role in a movie, I'll hook you up. Don't trip. I got you. I got you. Because I kind of want to do my own skit of the Godfather. Because I just think it's
Shouldn't be
beautiful.
difficult.
It shouldn't be difficult. I want to do Marlon Brando. I want somebody to do the Undertaker. But yeah, dude. On top of all, so let me move on. So last night, okay. So what is it? Today's the when people say this, today will be the 11th. 2 days ago, right? 11 minus 2 is 9, right?
Good job.
Yeah.
Great job.
11. Okay, 11 minus 2 is 9. So it was the 9th of September. They released Netflix Cuties. All right. Now, if there are any children listening, parents listening with children, please have them go put them in a bed before we start talking about this, because this movie is a real mature movie for what it is, and it's a French movie. I've seen a couple French movies in my life, and let me tell you, the French are very promiscuous about the way they express their sexuality. Now, I'm talking about this as a young adult, okay? I am a young adult who has grown up, and as a dude, I understand my own sexuality. Now, I know you guys are gonna be like, oh, well, that's questionable, your sexuality. But the movie...
Yours?
General? Look, the movie, for the controversy behind it was that it was released the marketing for it here in America showed a poster of the movie with 11-year-olds in, I would say, dance outfits, crop tops, booty shorts, and they're posing for the poster. That controversy led to people saying that Netflix needs to check themselves because they are promoting propaganda towards pedophilia and normalizing it. That's what they were saying. This was a month before it released in the States. The movie had already premiered at Sundance and I think another festival in France, in Paris somewhere. Now, the movie had circulated for a bit, and at the time, I didn't hear anything about it because the movie in French is Cuties. I mean, Mignonnes or something like that. I'm butchering the name, but in English, it refers to Cuties. So the movie description says that it's about a young 11-year-old who comes from a Muslim Orthodox family. It takes place in modern day. Comes from an Orthodox Muslim family, and finds her femininity growing up as a pre-adolescent teenager, finding herself through this small group of girls who go to school with her are also like, they seem to be very free of like parent control, because in the movie you hardly see any adults. Now I'm trying to keep it PG as possible because there's a lot. The movie starts off with her. Yeah, I know, right? I'm not trying to, because this is a really, it's not. It shouldn't be a difficult topic to talk about, but it is for a lot of people because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and the movie in general made me uncomfortable. I don't know if that was the goal of the movie. I did my due diligence. I went ahead and I had an open mind. I knew there was controversy behind it. I knew everything going into it that had to do with the marketing, the scandal with oh, by the way, the Sundance Film Festival, the guy who co-founded that, he went to jail for sexual harassment of underage girls. So that just goes right there. This is not me trying to start a conspiracy theory or anything about child sex trafficking, but this movie, in my opinion, did an incredible job of trying to tell you that, again, this is just my hot take on it. This is what I saw and how I interpreted the film, was that that a young girl at the age of which she has her period, right? Because this is how the movie portrays it. The young girl Amy, she has her period during the phase of the movie. She's confronted by her grand aunt, and her aunt, who is very orthodox and in the Muslim religion, tells her, "You're finally a woman," and this scene sort of evoked that idea that she is now old enough to marry, to have children, and to essentially become the role of a wife, a woman, all in an instant, because she had her period. That was just how I interpreted that part. Now, the movie goes on to show you that she wants to be friends with these group of girls who nowhere in the movie do they ever have any connecting tissue between her and these group of girls who are honestly, in my, like, they're 11-year-olds dressed like grown-ass women. Like, I've got no issue with women wearing makeup and dressing certain types of ways, exposing their bodies, but these are 11-year-old girls. The director says that she wanted to try and evoke the times, that her opinion and idea about how little girls see and imitate things they watch on YouTube, on social media, and it's like, yeah, no shit, they're fucking kids, they don't know any better. This is a great scene right here where I thought it just kind of looked, it was just fucking stupid. Like, they show up to school, and the main character Amy, she sees them, the little group of girls walk over. They call themselves Cuties. They walk over to another large group of students, and they do this like this challenge, this silly like Instagram challenge to TikTok challenge, whatever, where they all freeze in place. And this is like one of the 3 instances where I saw an adult. Like a principal comes over or a teacher comes over and tells Amy, hey, look, this is where you're going to go to class. This is you, blah, blah, blah. And she looks over and she sees the little girls. And it's not like the first thing that comes to her mind is like, you guys need to get to class. After they start like resisting, like, oh no, we're just playing or whatever, she drags them into the office, and they're screaming, oh, libertad, libertad, freedom of expression, freedom of expression. It was clear to me that the director was trying to send a message there. Like did none of her producers stop and tell her, hey, look, you're pushing the line between what we think is uncomfortable and lacks taste, right? Like, it's like making a joke about someone's death in bad taste, right? Because you can make death funny, right? You know, like people make fun of death in a lighthearted manner, but how do you tell something and still and it be tasteful, right? Because how do you sexualize 11-year-old girls and it be tasteful? Like, there are some really good movies out there that tell coming of age stories and do a really good job of explaining pre-adolescence into young adulthood, right? Or young teenagehood or whatever. Think about it. The Breakfast Club, City of God. Was it Madeline? You know, the one where she gets the powers with Danny DeVito. If that's the name of the movie. There's also what other one? Well, those are just some of the few that I can think of off the top of my head. The movie goes on to show you glimpses of, okay, it's obvious to us that the little girls are too young to be doing what they're doing in the movie, and this is me, like, from a standpoint of like, okay, we should be more respectful, right? Because they're just children, they don't know any better, and it's not like they can make their own decisions. They're constantly without adult supervision. They're on their phones. They're in the bathroom in one scene and they're watching pornography. Okay, that I was just like, I'm like, okay, I mean, it's the 21st century, it's, you know, new generation. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, they have cell phones, like, unless parents have parental control options checked on, the internet is fucking free roam. You can Google whatever the fuck you want. I was like, okay, that's a bit uncomfortable for me. I'm like, they're talking about pornography in a very, like, normal manner. There's another part of the movie where one of the young girls, they're all in the park practicing or whatever. One of them picks up a condom, right? A used one, in the fucking park. She then proceeds to blow it into a balloon, right? And then use it, like, the camera, oh my god. The camera just, you're viewing it like this fucking creep. Because you see the imagery, like, she's got a phallic symbol up on her face, because for a brief moment when she blows the condom with air, it turns into, you know, a fully like erected fucking condom. And I'm like, okay, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like 30 minutes into this movie. I'm like, I don't see what you're doing. The director had no emotion. There was parts of the movie where you could see where her dynamic relationship with her mother finding out that her husband is going to take on a second wife, and then she has to prep the wedding, right? She's going to be there. I was like, okay, those moments are good, where you have this dynamic between her and her mother, and you're like, oh, I see the relationship she has with her mother and how tough it is for her to be like the older sibling, because she has a younger brother in this film. And there was a couple moments like that sparsed out through the movie, where you could see the emotion and her kind of coming to the realization that I'm changing, I'm growing up. Like, those parts were good. But for like, I gotta say, like 45, almost an hour of the movie, shit, I got fuck. Most of it was just the girls being sexually promiscuous with themselves, trying to be sexy and evoke everything you see in a Cardi B music video, right? Everything you see in an everything you see in a Cardi B music video is exactly what they were doing, shaking their asses, wanting bigger tits, wanting bigger asses, and they're talking to each other like as if they have control over their as if they have control over their futures, right? But they're just kids. And this is what kind of pissed me off about the movie, is that it was the director, it was her directorial debut, right? And to me, I'm like, okay, it's your first studio movie. I could understand if like it comes out shitty. But the cinematography was poor. Like, unless you like looking at 11-year-old fucking little girls, the cinematography was poor. It just made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel uncomfortable. And it's not because I'm not afraid to talk about these damn conversations. Like, we can have conversations about this shit, but it's just, you went about it the wrong way. Like, you guys ever seen Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick? Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. No, it's a really good movie. It was on Netflix. It came out in like 2001 or 99. Stanley Kubrick was known for like having this really great cinematography and incredible imagery, and like you could fucking study his films and have a whole college course on them. They're incredible. And Eyes Wide Shut is probably like in my top 3 movies from him. In those movies, he does an amazing job of telling you this sort of giving you this energy that there's something else going on. In this movie, you get the same feeling, but you can tell that it is disingenuous about what it's doing or something. Like, I got this sinister feeling. There's this scene where they break into a laser tag facility. They get caught by security. It was so on the nose, right? Talk about hiding in plain sight. The security guard tells them, hey, you guys can't be in here. You guys have to go. I'm going to need you guys to give me your parents' number so I can call them to come and pick you up. Everything seemed normal, fine. I'm like trying to keep an open mind. They then start complaining to him like, no, please don't tell on us. We're in a competition. We're going to be at the park. Like, please let us go. And they just try to leave, and the security officer is like, no, you guys can't leave. I'm gonna have to call your parents. And he grabs one of the girl's arms, and the little girl starts like screaming, oh, you're groping me, let me go, what are you doing, you're a grown man. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I don't have to, I'm not stupid. Like I love conspiracy theories, I love all that shit, and I know what I'm looking at. Like, that shit is not, like, there's no other way to say it, but it was just in plain sight for me. Then his partner, ugly dude, balding, straight up obvious to me that he is trying to, he's supposed to look like a creep. He's supposed to look like a fucking creep. He walks in, and the little girls are screaming, oh, he tried to grope us, he tried to do this, he tried to, sexually assault us. And I'm just like, okay, just relax. I'm in my head, I'm like, just relax. Where's this going? His partner is looking at them like, okay, explain to me what you guys are doing in here. They're like, oh, we're dancers. We're gonna go compete. The main character, Amy, starts sexually dancing in front of him. They start provoking him, and he starts to smile and look on with enjoyment. And I'm like, okay, this scene right here is a message. It's a message to whoever the fuck is watching it. These disgusting fucks, like, they know exactly, she knows it. Her producers, whoever was on set with her, should have been like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I know this is not, I know you're making a movie and you're trying to have these adult themes. And I'm like, why are you being so on the nose about it? Like, there's a way to be graceful about it, like, and witty, and like not tone deaf. Maybe it's just French filmmaking. Maybe I'm like criticizing it too much. But for me, it was uncomfortable because I'm like, it's an older man looking on at an 11-year-old gyrate her body in a manner that you know is extremely sexual. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking Cardi B levels of sexual, where her ass can just talk about wet ass pussy, hump the floor, fucking dry hump, all kinds of shit. I'm like, this is not good. I'm thinking, it's like halfway through the movie, and I'm like, okay, where the fuck is the story? Where the fuck, where are you evoking this emotion that you want to say that she's coming of age? Again, only a couple moments when she has her period, when she finds out her father is having another wife, and her mother and great aunt are going to prepare a feast for the wedding, and because she's Muslim and her orthodox view of seeing it, she takes on, her husband is allowed to take on another husband, and it's normal, and I get it. She feels like the man in her life betrayed them. Like, oh, Roma on Netflix, right? Roma, incredible fucking movie. If you want to talk about feminism, you want to talk about what it means to be a woman and how difficult it is to be a mother and shit, like, I get it. It was her perspective. She evoked the character Amy about her growing up, the director, but it was done and not in a tasteful manner. Y tu mamá también. If you guys know the guy, Diego, the guy from Star Wars Rogue One, who plays alongside Emily Beck. What's her name? The British chick.
Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones, yeah, in Star Wars Rogue One, her co-star, Diego something. He's a teenager in this movie Y tu mamá también, where they talk about coming of age for young men. They meet a woman who is going through a divorce, and she goes on a road trip with both of them. And I thought it was interesting because both of them sleep with her, like they have sex with her, but the sex is not very good. Like they literally they literally like get naked, they start to fuck, and then he comes, both of them, right? Spoiler alert, it's a good movie, Y tu mamá también. And I thought that was a better way of showing sort of like a young man's perspective, growing and having this adoration for a much older woman. And like in the movie Cuties, the director tries to show you that as a young girl, you're like starting to think about the world around you, and you have these desires that you're not totally comfortable or understand. And I'm not a girl, so I wouldn't understand that. But as a dude, I understand what it's like coming of age, and sex being involved, and other things that are like part of growing up. The movie took a bunch of left turns for me, which I thought were like in bad taste. Just a couple final thoughts on this before I give you my verdict on whether or not you should watch it and what I think on my review of the movie. There's a scene where she steals a smartphone from, I believe, a roommate. I don't remember who this man is, but he, I think, lives in the same building or apartment complex as her, and she steals this young man's phone. She uses it to go on social media, to go on all kinds of other platforms. And for a moment, I just realized, I'm like, okay, she's 11, she doesn't have a smartphone. That's normal, right? I think it's normal if kids don't have smartphones. And I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm like, okay, don't get carried away in your head. Just watch the movie. Don't try to predict what might happen. Just go with it. Because I'm already like thinking things at this point after what I had seen in the first fucking 24 minutes of the movie. She steals his phone, starts using it to post stuff on social media, and she sees like you see her use the filter to post pictures of herself and like look really pretty and older. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can go with that. I see that you're trying to show us what happens when people, like young people, young girls, try to be like other women that they see online. Like they try to evoke that same nature and shit. I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere with the movie. I'm like, okay, so she has her phone. When is this guy gonna realize and say, oh, I lost my phone. Like, where the fuck is it? I guess there was a scene that they cut out of the movie where where she helps him look for his phone, and she lies to him and says that, oh, I don't know where your phone is. About an hour into the movie, she gets caught with it, and she doesn't want to give it back. I'm like, okay, I understand. You're a kid. You don't want to give up the phone. You're doing all kinds of shit on it. He gets really upset, and he's like, give me my fucking phone back. And she's like, no. So he just snatches it from her, and then she proceeds to undress herself in front of him. Right? I was like, oh my fucking god, this better not go where I thought it was going. He pushes her away. She grabs his phone, runs into the bathroom, and then she takes a picture of her vagina and uploads it to his cloud. Okay, this is what weirded me out. That went nowhere. What the fuck was the point of that shot? Because she uploads the video of her vagina onto his cloud, because you can clearly, there's a shot of it showing that, oh, upload to his cloud. But I'm like, okay, where is this going? Because it doesn't go anywhere after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you trying to get him in trouble? What was your intention with that? Like, even if it flew over my head, I was like, I'm like, okay, that was just not cool. I don't fucking get it. You're a child, and you think this was okay? Or I don't know what the fuck to think. I know exactly what I think. I just don't know how to express how I feel without it sounding like I'm tone deaf. Because I'm not tone deaf about what the movie was trying to say. I just didn't like I just don't like the way it was trying to tell it. Like I could spend a good another 25 minutes reviewing the movie shot by shot. I would recommend. I actually could not find many reviews on this movie. Even some of my favorite critics had not reviewed it. So I'm like, okay, well, somebody's got to talk about it. Like, we need to have an adult conversation about these kinds of movies, and what are they really trying to say? Because, again, there are some shots in this movie. The cinematographer is a dude, by the way. I looked him up. I can't pronounce his French fucking name, but a lot of the fucking shots were set up so that you could clearly sexualize these young girls. Like, no doubt. No doubt. It's obvious to me. It's not a fucking conspiracy that there are people out there who enjoy this shit. Because it's fucking borderline exploitation. Sexual exploitation. It's rated TVMA. So unless you've got parental controls turned on, the movie will not show up anywhere. And the director, I saw the interview about why she made this film and what her goals were. I think she's got issues. And I'm not docking her. People should be happy. Black America probably won't be as happy because she's French. She's not Black American. But it's a movie written by a black female, directed by a black female. You know what I'm saying? Where the main actress is a black female. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's all about diversity. It's all about diversity.
I don't think that matters.
It does matter. It does matter. If we're not going to bring it up today, but the Oscars just changed the requirements to what constitutes it up for an Oscar. These are just some of the things that need to be qualified for an Oscar. You need to have at least some kind of diverse group of cast staff, right? You need to have fucking disabled people, gay people, blind. You need to have some kind of involvement with them so that they are part of the voting process or the consideration process. Obviously, you know, we won't get into award shows today. I think they're a bit arbitrary at times. But yeah, the movie for sure just... I would not recommend anybody watching it unless... I don't know, unless you're curious so that you can see for yourself. Because I know this is a bit of a contentious point about myself, that I'm a bit of a flip-flopper when it comes to watching shit. You know, oh, you listen to this guy's reviews, but you're not going to watch this movie because you heard him tell you that it's not a good fucking movie. It's like, well, I'm telling you it's not a good fucking movie. And then someone's going to be like, well, how can you say that if you've never seen the fucking movie? I'm like, okay, I saw the movie. I did my due diligence. What are you going to say?
That was me, by the way, and I do not take that back.
No, that's
I
fine.
think you have a certain way, like even you that are saying don't watch it. I mean, to me, it gets almost no merit. If somebody wants to go and watch it because they want to see how bad something is, then go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, like refusing to watch something out of like principle because you're just like not a fan of a certain director or like a creator, I can understand that, right? But if you're choosing to not watch a movie outright because of what you heard, then, I mean, I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a fucking opinion. But I don't recommend anybody go out and watch it. But if you do come across it and you watch it and try to tell me what you see is not, it's borderline fucking sexual exploitation. If not that. Because as much as the fucking French director was like, oh, feminist movie, this movie is about expressing your femininity at a young age. You've got to, you know, I'm trying to send this message. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to fucking mock her. That's her accent. She's got a fucking French accent.
Yeah, but you are intentionally trying to mock her. Because
yeah, I am.
You can't do accents. We talked about it. You're not good at impressions, so don't like. The reason you did that was to mock her, and don't do that. Like you can say her shit now that you watch it. You can say it's trash, but don't do that.
She's trash. Her movie is trash. Her movie is trash. Her idea of this movie was trash. Like, you were tone deaf. You were just tone deaf, girl. Like, no disrespect. I love you if you ever see this. But you went about it the wrong way. Straight up. You had a good movie. You had a great foundation. But you littered it with... I can't even say it. Because it's not something I enjoy thinking about. It's not something yeah, whatever. Alright, so moving on. Movie for me, fucking 2 out of 10. On my scale, 5 is average, 10 is perfect, 1 is shit. And it's a fucking 2. The only reason it's a 2 is because there are moments in the movie where you're like, okay, you could do something with this if it wasn't littered with a bunch of fucking little girls dancing like they're fucking 30. Or in a fucking Cardi B music video. Like, if Michael Bay did this shit, everybody would be fucking pissed. They'd be like, oh, yo, what the fuck are you doing sexualizing little girls? But it's okay for a French black woman to go ahead and say, oh, these little girls are just exploring their femininity because they're becoming young teenagers and they're able to make their own decisions and they can choose to be promiscuous if they want. And it's like, where the fuck are the parents? I could go on. So many insinuations in that movie, so many disgusting fucking scenes that to me came off as offensive. Moving on. I believe in America. I love America. I was born here. Right? You were born... Rick, were you born here? Or are you going to plead the fifth?
No, you don't need to plead the fifth on a normal
question? That's true, yeah. So you were born here, right? You're an American. Yeah?
I am.
Oh my god. Why are you fucking saying it like that?
Are you afraid of being American?
Like a normal person?
I am talking like a normal person.
What is this leading to?
we're,
Jesus
we're
Christ.
Just you know,
Wait,
we're
yeah, we
Americans.
know where we're
Like,
going.
what am I
Yeah.
supposed
Oh, I
to
thought you were
do?
talking to Grinch.
What are you trying to sell?
We're going into the next section of our discussion.
This is the worst segue. It's not even a funny one. It's just terrible.
I love that you call out my segues.
Fucking horrible.
Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro versus Cardi B. Cardi B has been the face of the Democratic movement for her demographic. Candace Owens, for those of you who are unfamiliar with her, let me just go ahead and quickly pull up her description. I had it written down right here, but I am a fucking bum.
Can't describe her from memory.
I can't describe her from memory because everything I do the night before just goes in one ear and out the other, like the moment I wake up. Candace Owens is the communication director for Turning Point USA, which is an American conservative nonprofit organization whose stated mission is to educate students about true free market values. Now, I first heard about Candace way back when, I think through her being like a controversial point of interest. And then I saw her on the Joe Rogan podcast. And that's when I knew, okay, I don't actually know her. Like, I'm just making assumptions about her and I don't really know anything about her. She is someone who has very strong points and things that I agree with, and there are a lot of things I disagree with her on. Same thing with Ben Shapiro. Like, for one, Ben Shapiro doesn't think rap is real music, right? Because he came from a family of musicians, and his father is a music teacher, and in the music theory, there's only 12 notes, and he like makes this argument that rap music is not actual music, and I disagree with him there. That's just, I love rap music, baby, baby. And Candace, she... Don't hate on Biggie.
I'm not hating on Biggie. I don't know what the fuck that was, but...
Baby, baby.
No.
I know.
What
I
you
didn't
did.
mean to do it again.
What did I do?
Yeah. No, what you did was not considered good. When Biggie did
don't do it again. Don't do it a third time.
Look,
Oh, man.
baby. Look, the Candace Owens, she.
How do you think this is going right now? I feel like this is going like shit because it doesn't. You're not talking to us. It just sounds like you're talking to an audience.
No. Keep going. We're good.
Grinch, do you need a moment? Do you need a second?
Oh, do we need a second?
Do we need a second, or what's happening? No, we're good.
Right.
I'm talking to
cut out anyways. Stop.
Do the clap.
What? Where was I? Okay, so Candace Owens was on the Ben Shapiro show, and we're talking about her because she is relevant. She has become very prominent and more popular now with her new book called Blackout, regarding Black America and its culture being tainted and not in the right place, and things like that. Rick, you watched it. You watched the interview with Ben Shapiro. What did you think about Candace Owens and her demeanor? Is this the first time you've heard of her, or did you hear about her before this?
Well, as you know, I don't dabble in politics, so.
Correct. Yeah.
This was the first time I had heard her speak. Like, this is the first time I had heard her in an interview. I had seen her name before, but again, I don't. Once I see politics, I just turn it off. I don't need to watch that. So yeah, this is the first time I actually got to hear her opinions on certain things and her point of view.
Yeah, and when you heard her talk about things like being a prominent conservative as a black woman in America, she talked about how she is really like, it doesn't faze her when people are being disrespectful towards her. I yesterday had to refresh my memory when she was on the Joe Rogan podcast. She did a quick summary of why she became like prominent. She says she doesn't like calling herself a victim of hate crimes, but she made she was in high school was prank called by a group of students who said some really mean things to her and like and said racist remarks. Now these are people in high school, and the point she was making was that it's like are you a racist if you're just a kid? Like, can you be racist if you're a kid? You can make remarks about each other and it not be offensive. You get what I'm saying? Because we're making social interactions between each other that are considered to be friendly, or we're in these social, interactions where one of us maybe offends someone else, but it's not necessarily to offend and hurt them, but it's in a matter to just jest. Rick, what was something interesting? What was something that stood out to you about her that you disagreed with?
Regarding what?
Regarding
Like which?
uh, regarding things like what happened with the Cardi B interview with Joe Biden, right? Because she's a rap artist, right? She's a rap artist. She's not a politician. She's just a celebrity who has a lot of money and is dating one of the Migos. I think, who's she dating?
I believe she's married.
Oh, right. She's married to Future or something. Yeah. Anyway, so what do you think about that? Like, why are heads of state interviewing rap celebrities? I mean, if you disagreed with that, because I disagreed with that. I mean, I agreed with her on that. Yeah.
A lot of questions. What's the main question?
What did you disagree with her on?
And then I said regards to what? So you started just talking about her, like Candace Owens' demeanor in that situation?
No, like, was there anything to you that you heard her say where you're like, oh, that doesn't, like, I don't align myself with that?
Out of all her things, that's what I'm saying, like regarding which one? Because the Cardi B thing, I didn't agree with both of them. I think both of them were wrong because they eventually turned it turned into personal attacks. It stopped being about what the main issue was, and which is Candace Owens saying in her interview with Ben Shapiro saying she was illiterate, and Joe Biden decided to do an interview with her. And I think she could have been a little bit better in phrasing that, because she called her illiterate, I think, like 3 or 4 times. And I get what she was doing, because it was like, it was almost, if I would to hear it, it would be like, if I was Cardi B, I would have taken it like, oh, you're just calling me a dumb bitch. That's what you're saying. And I think that's how she took it, which is why she replied to it. Then it started being like Cardi B at a certain point said, oh, your father-in-law was part of the KKK. And she married a white man. So that kind of like
oh, yeah, I heard this. Yeah, I remember this.
So it stopped being about what the actual issue was, and it started being personal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in both of that, for both of them, in that regard, I think they were both at fault. There was no reason to get personal. If you're going to talk about a certain issue, talk about the issue, and that's what sometimes it comes down to, which is why I don't follow politics like that, because it starts to get personal instead of, we get nothing done because of that. It stopped being about the actual issue, which was Joe Biden could have actually maybe sat down with somebody who had tougher questions than what Cardi B did, who would be a little bit more educated on the stuff that Joe Biden is campaigning that he's going to do once he gets in office. That's the kind of stuff people want to hear, not.
Yeah.
And I get what she was saying. Candace Owens was like, we don't want really to hear a rap artist go up there and say something that's not even like, it doesn't, like she pointed out that, oh, you asked for like lower taxes, but universal, was it
healthcare?
Or was it
income?
Yeah, and she's like, that both of those can't code. Like, that's a dumb thing. You just went out there and did like a wish list, is what she called it. Like if he was
that's a good
Santa
point.
Claus.
Yeah.
And I get what her point to me was valid. You could have phrased it a bit better to not insult Cardi B, because it's essentially the person I think was wrong for that interview was not Cardi B. it was Joe Biden
Mm-hmm.
because he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fault lies on him, not on her. But it was Cardi B's a bit easier to attack, and I think that was wrong
I
to
think,
just attack her just like that. That was not. It was uncalled for.
yeah, I think the reason they had Cardi B interview Joe Biden was because they needed somebody who was at Joe Biden's like mental capacity, you know, because he's slowly
Well, you see
declining.
what you're doing right there, even if it's a joke, that's what I don't really like about, because even Candace, when you hear her talk about
Yeah.
uh, Democrats, she
Mhm.
says it as if they're no longer human beings. They're just, that's the demon party.
Well, they both
And
start
it's
with D,
sad because
so
you
that makes
in the
sense.
same way you're doing it right now. You
Yes.
just, it's always like, and it's the same thing you just
Mm-hmm.
did with that director where you started to mock her. It
Mm-hmm.
stops being about what's actually the issue and it just starts going to personal attacks,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is,
Huh.
where are we
Mhm.
going? Like, we're getting nowhere at all by doing that.
That's a, you know, that's a great way of looking at it, because that's not what America is about. We should be able to have a conversation with somebody who did
That's
totally.
exactly what America's about. That's not,
See, that's the
for you to
issue.
say that's not what America's about. Are you
Look,
kidding me? We were founded on
if
doing stuff like that.
because it's like, I can't. Why can't we have a conversation with somebody who totally disagrees with us, and have a good time? Okay, wait. I've always said that you have to be, not always, more recently. You have to, if you're having a debate with somebody, or you're talking to somebody and it has to do with serious issues, you have to be sharp. You have to come ready with your words and the way you're going to speak about something, because you're right, it might have just sounded off like a wish list, but if she had come through with a sharp knowledge of, okay, this is what's really like affecting um, our communities, and this is what we want to try to do to mitigate those effects. Because it's just like, oh, we ask for these things every term, but I feel like we're not getting anywhere with these kinds of these these kinds of interviews, with these kinds of interviews where we have politicians who are prominent try to relate to their audiences or their constituents, and they have people like Cardi B, Justin Bieber, fucking Miley Cyrus, Ellen DeGeneres, um, and who else am I thinking of? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it bothers me that they can't have adult conversations, and I can see why Candace makes so much fun of them, because she does exactly, like, we got to keep that same energy with both sides, because Candace does the exact same thing that the Democrats do.
No, absolutely. But
Yeah.
the problem is that
Mhm.
you can't have a conversation that way. Have you ever had, either of you guys have ever had a argument or maybe just a discussion?
Mhm.
But as soon as the other party starts to either raise their voice or call you a certain name,
Yeah.
where it's like, I don't even care if I'm wrong anymore. At this point, I'm only arguing for pride.
That's not healthy. That person is not there to.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what, when you do, when she like makes fun of people, no shit, they're not gonna respond by saying, "Oh yeah, you're right." No, now
No, well,
you've
if it's
offended.
true, not if it's true.
No, once you, because pride kicks in. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you have to have respect for the other side. When you look at the other side and you start calling them different names or telling them that they're the problem, what is, why would they want to sit down with you and have a decent conversation if that's how you're going to be acting?
Well, right. Yeah, and that does happen, right? People get prideful, they get defensive, but it's so obvious to me that, like, recently, in the past 5 years, it's obvious to me that there is a group of Americans that are trying to shut down other people's opinions without diving into like a conversation about what's really going on. Like,
You
you
think that's
can't.
recent?
I think it's been going on for a while now. It's just been, the catalyst was Trump winning the election. He's gonna win again. You heard it here first. Um, and a lot of that has to do with what we see happening in our everyday life. it doesn't take. To be willfully blind about things happening is one thing, which is dangerous. But I think it's okay if we're calling each other out for the stupidity in our actions. And if I were to get defensive about something that you called me out on, just hypothetically speaking, I would, and if it hurt my feelings, it would probably come from a place of emotional truth, in the sense that you mean it, and what you meant was to hurt my feelings, and me realizing that, okay, what you said about me is true. It's up to me, right, to say, okay, am I going to let it define me? Am I going to be the victim here, or am I going to say, you know what, I know what's true about myself, and I am accepting of those truths, and I'm going to move forward. What I'm describing is somebody who is willing to have a conversation with somebody who is just not open-minded.
Okay, so those two scenarios that you gave. So either, I don't even remember the first one. You said someone said something bad about you, it hurts your feelings or whatever. Yeah. There's two ways, and the second way was, I know the truth, so pretty much ignore what they're saying, even if you.
No, you're not ignoring it. No, you're not ignoring it. You're acknowledging what they said about you is true. Like if you're fat or ugly, generally speaking, and you yourself feel like you're fat or ugly, and you're like, okay, there's some truth to that. I'm not as good looking as I think I am, but I'm willing to accept who I am and not let their words, offend me, because that's just what that is. They're just being offensive. But you can choose to take it that way. But if it's true, then you're just like, okay, it's true. It's not. You're not gonna make fun of me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you're calling me out for something, and you do it in a way that is funny and not offensive, then that's fine. But you, like I said in the beginning, like if someone's trying to be mean to you, like they will say it with that intent, like to hurt your feelings. But Candace Owens and like Ben Shapiro and prominent conservatives like them, I think they understand that like they need the other side so that they can check themselves, because they're constantly checking each other for the dumb shit that they say. And I think that the good ones keep that same energy with everybody that they come across, because when you start to get defensive and prideful about your arguments, I think that's where you start to lose, right? Like you said, when somebody just starts to say someone starts to argue for the sake of arguing, like that's not healthy. That's not cool. What are you doing?
I like, even the stuff that I've watched with her, I haven't seen that.
Seen what?
I haven't seen the other side say, yeah, you're right, and not still boo her, not still argue with her.
Yeah, because she has some.
So it's like, then what is the right right approach? Because she does have a way about when she speaks. Sometimes it comes off as condescending, whether she means to do it or not. I don't know. I'm not in her head.
No, I don't believe she's a bright woman. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, there's a difference between being smart and then being. You can be smart and condescending. It's not like one cancels out the other.
That's called being an asshole. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
So all assholes are smart?
No, not all of them.
That's not a fusion of those two. Don't equal an asshole.
No, because somebody can be an asshole because they're like, they know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can, like, if you know what you're doing and you're being an asshole, you're being mean about it, that's being an asshole. You get what I'm saying?
You can just be an asshole in general. I would call you an asshole, and I don't think.
No, well, that
a tier of
yeah, we would have to make a tier list of assholes. But yeah, continue what you were saying about her.
Well, now you cut me off. Which Ben Shapiro, I do give him a lot of. Even though his voice is annoying, I give him a lot of credit for that he doesn't cut off the people that he talks to. Yeah. Which is something that with her I've seen that they cut her off a lot, and without hearing her all the way through, which is kind of sad, because she does, in my opinion, she has a lot of great points.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything she says, but I agree with some of the stuff that
yeah.
she does.
One of the points she brought up, which I thought is a really good point, is the lack of fathers in black communities, and in America in general. Uh, it doesn't take more than a simple Google search to see that there's this huge, like, um, what is it, like, open wound in America where there's a lack of fathers and role models for young men. And I think this has been going on for a while now. She made a good point that, like, this victimhood. I'm probably gonna get roasted for this. Like, obviously, it doesn't fucking matter. But this victimhood idea where you're being suppressed by everybody else, and you're going to struggle because that's just how it is for you in America. Her view on that being, no, don't pretend to be a victim and don't allow yourself to be a victim. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to say, oh, you're not good enough. But okay, but don't say that it's because they're doing this systematically. That's what she's saying. And to a certain extent, I agree with her. I'm not saying that there isn't systematic racial oppression. I'm not saying that there isn't injustice. But there is definitely something there about personal responsibility and taking actions and taking responsibility for your actions. It can be seen again, like, for both sides. She's pandering to her conservative constituency, her conservative audience, but she is really smart, has her facts straight, has everything, has her ideas, in a straight line. Other than that, she is criticized for, not believing in climate change, being a Trump supporter, and shit. I think that's really the biggest two things that the black community, doesn't like. There's some people who don't like her because she is not like one of them. She talked about being made fun of because of the way she talked, right? Because she could speak proper English, and that kind of resonated with me because when I was younger, I spoke kind of like slang-ish. I still do, but when I would speak proper English, it would be in front of adults or other, older people. And I always felt like, oh, I'm changing my personality to appease other people. And I don't think she's doing that. I think she's being herself and still doing a good job of advocating for trying to get people to change their minds. Have a paradigm shift about the way you see things. Like, without being too political about it, but like I mentioned earlier, here in California, I love California. I love living here, but our legislators just don't, in my opinion, like everyone else, some other people think that they're just not doing a very good job of handling the pandemic, the shutdowns, and the reopening. And it's obvious. And you don't be a fucking idiot. Like, if you live here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see that we've got a huge homeless crisis, we've got a housing crisis, we've got wildfires, which is just like every fucking year because it's a fucking dry heat, and we've got our representatives telling us that it's all going to be okay November 4th, after November 4th, if Trump loses. Like, that's what they're saying, and that's what they want us. Like, there's no communication between us and them to say, okay, let's be real here. We're having a hard time. How do you deal with 40 million people in California, right? People aren't allowed to go to the fucking church. They're not allowed to go eat out, blow off steam. But you're definitely allowed to go protest. You're allowed to fucking, do anything that doesn't include extracurricular activities, which is just be home. And that's just what it's been like for the past 6 months. Like, people have been coming to and realizing, like, okay, this shit is kind of stupid. And Candace kind of evokes that emotion where it's like, okay, this is kind of stupid. I haven't really seen anybody check her in the sense like, oh, I'm a good debater who comes back at her with like solid facts, because Ben Shapiro was there to interview her. He wasn't there to debate her. I would have loved to have heard someone debate her. Like Joe Rogan's interview with her, conversation with her was a good one. It was a real good one. Like, she really opened up a lot about how she thinks. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in on another episode of the West Coast Flagrancy Podcast. As always, peace.